How we doing? Oh, and we got more news and the stuff going on. What's going on with the people who are already here? I appreciate you. And we about to get this party started. You know how it works. I'm only gonna be here for a little bit. Just give you some entertainment, some sports news on your lunch break. I promise I will be out of here in time for you to finish your sandwich, wash your hands, and get back to work. So that is my promise to you. What's going on, Jason Sink? First out the limo. I appreciate you, brother. As always, been a pretty busy news cycle. We got still people going off about the Phillies, and then we got this information with the Eagles this morning with the trip to Brazil. So it looks like everybody was wrong. And here we go. Here I go talking about that guy named Sources who was telling everybody that we were going to be playing the Cleveland Browns. At the end of the day, nobody knows. They pull. I don't know if they pulled a bait and switch. I don't know what the deal was, but all I know is that it has been officially announced that we will be playing the Green Bay Packers in Sao Paulo, Brazil, at Corinthians Stadium. So that should be pretty good. It should be a pretty good matchup. I think that it will be. Um, they went for the matchup. You got two young black quarterbacks going at it, kind of the same skill set. They can move around. They can throw the ball. Um, so I thought that was pretty smart with Jordan Love. Jordan Love ended the year last year on fire. Um, and then of course, obviously for obvious reasons, they're gonna make Jalen Hurts his comp. And it's going to be pretty exciting because everybody wants to see what Kellen Moore is going to do. So the hype is real. Can Jalen Hurts recover from what went on at the end of the year last year? What is our defense going to look like? All of these problems and questions that everybody has, um, and we're gonna see what's what. I don't like the fact, and I've said this before. I'm not real happy with the fact that we got to go all the way to Brazil and lose a home game, but it is what it is. That's the cost of doing business in the NFL right now. So everybody's going to get a turn. Everybody's going to get a turn. I'm really interested to see what the fan turnout is, because if we've learned anything from what happens in London, and I was aware of this years ago when I was over there in the World League. I was in Scotland and we played in London and Barcelona, in Germany and Amsterdam. Um, and you will see, and this was especially true in uh, in London. You got people that will wear any and everything. So if the NFL opens up their shop over in Sao Paulo, and let's say you got the full 32 team roster of merchandise, jersey, hats, flags, towels, all of that kind of stuff. Um, the locals, the people in Sao Paulo, are going to tend to buy whatever it is they like. So we don't know what the popular team is in Sao Paulo. It might be Green Bay. It might be the Chiefs. It might be the Titans. I don't know. But you will see that. And usually when we play in European countries, the merch is all over the place. All the teams are represented. You might see little patches of some Chiefs fans here, some Eagles fans there, some Green Bay fans. So um, it'll be very interesting to see how the locals pick that up. So I'm still efforting to find some people. I found a couple of Facebook groups in Sao Paulo, so I'm trying to make some connections. So maybe we can see that happening. Chris Bruce, what's going on, my guy? So yeah, we're just talking about Brazil and seeing how it's going to work out. So um, now that basketball's over with, college basketball's over with, and we can now the we've got 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks until the draft. The draft is April 25th, right? So now the momentum is really starting to ramp up. How are we going to do, and What moves are we going to make? And now you're seeing all of this stuff coming out about the Cowboys and Micah Parsons, and you got people down there in the Dallas DFW area talking about that the Cowboys organization is leaking out information and kind of behind this smear campaign on Dak and Micah. And you heard the reports come out that people are tired of dealing with Micah's nonsense. And I'm like, nonsense? Like, what nonsense did he have? The boy stays out of trouble. And it's like, well, what nonsense? Like, oh, you talking about you don't like the podcast. Now the podcast is called nonsense. If it doesn't if it's not in line with exactly what you're trying to do as an organization. And the crazy part of this is now you're gonna have these organizations, they don't like the truth. Now, are we gonna see sometime in the future that some of these organizations are gonna put start putting stuff in contracts about doing podcasts and stuff like that in season? I can see that happening. I can see that happening as a way to cut off some of the noise that's coming from these players making the podcast and stuff. It's a very weird situation. Very weird situation. What's going on, Cody K? Very weird situation, especially when you got a player like Micah Parsons, especially when you had a player like Von Miller and all of these other guys. You got Slay, and you got a lot of these guys have active podcasts, and they're not just talking about light stuff, pop culture stuff. They are talking about the games and breaking down stuff, and it's very interesting the way this landscape is shaping up. And it would not be out of the realm of possibility that these teams could put it in their contracts, or maybe they could deem something that you say on your podcast could be deemed detrimental to the team, just to get control of that. I'm not sure how that would go. I don't know if that's something that can be collectively bargained. But it is something to look at, because this is not anything new. It has happened before. The people in the organizations will deny it, but we know how information travels and we know how things work. And it is not, in my opinion, it is not out of the realm of possibility for some of these teams to create smear campaigns on some of their players to drive down the prices and all of that kind of stuff. I don't put nothing past nobody. After what I've seen with what the NFL can do, or not just the NFL, but with some of these teams, and I'll speak on the Dan Snyder situation specifically. When you jump through that many hoops, and well, I guess you can say the NFL, when you do what they did with the investigation, and you put on a 6-week investigation, and you have the investigator give an oral report, and nobody sees any of this information. Nobody. But yet and still, Deshaun Watson gets busted for massages, and every detail and every person he's dealt with, and to the letter, everything that comes out with this case is public knowledge. When it's got something to do with these players, they will get this information. They'll squeeze water out of a rock to get the information that they need to get. So what makes you believe that they can't slip some money somewhere and create some bad news? Because the one thing that I always say is nobody knows who sources is, and nobody knows who pays sources. It's that simple. So that could go whichever way you wanted it to go. Whichever way you want it to go. So it's a kind of a slippery slope. And it's one thing that you can't really you can try to get a hold of it, because this is the problem that teams have now. And I said this before with us being content creators. And used to be, you had the people that work for the papers, the beat writers, and people that were tied into the information. Now everybody's tied into the information because nobody is looking for. You're not going to ESPN to see what Adam Schefter said or Ian Rappaport. You're doing what everybody else is doing. You are tied into their Twitter page. Now, where they're getting that information can now be questioned because if you see it on Dan Schefter's page or Adam Schefter's page or Ian Rappaport or anybody else, right? There's somebody else in the Twitter space that's going to have that same information at the same time. But because you know those names, those big NFL names, you tend to look at that situation first because obviously they got name recognition. And that makes sense. But the way the information comes out, social media is kind of even the playing field a little bit. We're not stupid. We know that Adam Schefter and Rappaport and all of these people that work for the media heads, they get leaked that information. That just doesn't happen by magic that they automatically know. That's why you will always have a dude named sources. Every team has them. Every major media head on ESPN, Fox News, and everything else. Everybody's got a guy named sources. And that remains in anonymity. So you can get the information, say it's coming from a good place, but you can never pinpoint the place that it's coming from. And all of these things can even the playing field right now. You still got the names, but the way this information goes, and now you got the people down in Dallas fighting this battle against the content creators. And the only thing you got to do is play it out. The one thing that still bothers everybody is, especially when you're doing this, everybody wants to be first. Everybody wants to get the information out there first, regardless of if it's right or wrong. They just trying to be first. But ultimately, this stuff is going to play itself out, and you're going to have a contingency of people that say, I told you so. And you have another contingency of people that are going to be like, I don't believe it. So with what you do and what you put out there, everybody's got receipts. Yeah, man. They don't want to air that dirty laundry, man. But it's getting so very difficult in this new era of communication to hide your laundry. It's getting harder and harder to do that. Again, everybody's got receipts. Again, everybody, especially, and it seems to me, and I don't want to pick on, well, yes, I do, picking on the Cowboys, but Jerry Jones is just showing everybody what not to do as an owner. If you're an owner and you're trying to conduct your business, it's just some things that shouldn't be for the people on the outside because you open yourself up to it. And that's the situation where, in my opinion, Jerry's ego has outgrown the team because I don't think he does by him having the press conference after every game and all of that kind of stuff. He's become the celebrity. So everything that he says, does, gets associated with the team. He got he got paternity suits and all of this kind of stuff, and all of that stuff gets that blue star plastered right in the front. Right in the front, just like Rashi Rice and the Lamborghini thing. Just like Patrick Mahomes Sr. and getting drunk driving. You got to put the Kansas City Chiefs sticker right on top of it, even though they don't deserve it. But you represent the team, so everything comes down. Chris, I believe you 100%. Ultimately, he's going to be their downfall. And it's a very macabre thing to say, but it'll be interesting what happens to the Cowboys when he does pass away. And then you see what Stephen Jones can do out from under the control of his father. And what happens if it gets better? It's going to be like, damn, all of this time we've been held back. So it's a very interesting situation. That's why, Eagles have got their issues too. There's people with, that might not feel great about Jeffrey Lurie, but in my opinion, Jeffrey Lurie is a great owner. He's really not in the limelight. The only time you see Jeffrey Lurie out is when he's at the games or is when he's promoting something, like the autism walk or, some type of charity or something like that. He ain't in the news every day. He's sitting up in the cut in his big office or in his $1 million house, letting the people he pay to do what he paid them to do. So, yeah, man, y'all, I'm with you, dude. Jerry's still acting like he in the 90s. He's still acting like he in the 90s, man. And it's in my opinion, it's detrimental. But you look at some of the, some of the other things going on, and it, you know, some of these owners they get. It's funny how many owners, and you look at the biggest culprits of it is Jerry Jones and old boy in Indianapolis, and they still want to be relevant. They still want to be because they got money, and they still, you know, I'm the elephant in the room. I always want to have all of the attention. But most of these dudes still can't figure out how to send a damn email. Most of these dudes are getting tripped up because Daniel Snyder got tripped up because he couldn't figure out how IT works, how to send an email, how to send a text. Because you think about it, some of the shit that the league does makes no damn sense. We got Isaiah Rodgers, right? Y'all know what happened to Isaiah Rodgers. Y'all know why he got suspended and everything that came with that. Let me see. See if they got any information on it. Because I just wanna because this is some of the hypocrisy that you see. Uh Rodgers, who on June 29th, 2023, was one of 4 players suspended for betting on the NFL, and among the 2 suspended players waived by the Indianapolis Colts, said the more than 100 bets placed on his gambling accounts were on behalf of friends and family in his native Florida, a state where sports betting was not legal. So at the end of the day, um, you gambling, you still can't gamble on the NFL. And I understand that. You shouldn't gamble on the NFL, especially when you're playing in it. But at the same time, the NFL can't go to bed with FanDuel and all these other places that promote gambling. That's a conflict of interest. And it makes no sense. But the bottom line is they're getting so much money from them that they're gonna do stuff that doesn't make sense. So um, you know, very interesting stuff, man. I got to read this article about Isaiah Rodgers when he opens up. It's from the Inquirer, so um, yeah, I got to read that again because it's funny, man, and it's not. Again, you look at in the big scheme of things and macro, what some of these teams are doing, and we doing all right. Jeffrey Lurie, you keep doing what you're doing, my friend, because we are on the forefront. It took a while, but our team is now a destination team. Other players want to come here and have an opportunity to play for a championship. So, um, can't really fault him for that. So, other news, of course, Fletch had his retirement press conference. You saw, and I thought it was pretty good. I thought his speech was it was It's like, what are you going to do following Kelsey? How's that going to work? You really can't do that. You really can't. You really can't follow him. It's not going to end well. I hate these ads. This is just crazy. I'm trying to bring y'all into some stuff, but yeah, man, you can't. You're not going to be able to follow that. But he did make some good points. And the one thing I took from his whole speech, I like what he talked about his family. I did not know the situation with him and Derek Barnett. I was not aware of that. I may have heard it and just forgot about it, but I did not. I honestly did not know like what happened to Derek Barnett's brother, and I didn't realize that's one thing that they had in common because uh, Fletcher's brother had passed away, um, and then Derek Barnett's brother passed away. I didn't realize, and I didn't know that that's the link that connected. So that was very introspective in my view. But he thanked his family, everybody being there. I thought it was cool that he brought his whole family in town. He said the reason why I wanted to do that is because they were all there when I got drafted. So it makes sense for them to be here when I stop, when I hang it up. So, and you guys know me. If you didn't see my video that I released yesterday, it's just about talking about his retirement and stuff like that. Check out that video for me. I'd appreciate it. But it was good stuff, man. It was short. It was to the point. It was quaint. It was thoughtful. And he even made a joke about it not being an hour long, which I thought was funny. And that just lets me know that he is aware of the situation he's in, the space that he's in, and everything that happened before he made his announcement. He gave everybody their time, and now he gave it a little room to breathe. You know what I'm saying? Which I thought was smart, so he can get his due, and he ain't got to be fighting for attention. So I wouldn't be surprised if Kelsey has him on the podcast so they can talk and kind of get into it a little bit more. But here's the question I want to raise: Is Fletcher Cox a Hall of Famer? We already know he's an Eagles Hall of Famer. Is he a Hall of Famer? That's what I want to see. I got to go back and compare, put him side by side with Warren Sapp, and some of those other guys, and Bruce Smith, and some of those other guys that played the same position. Put him side by side with them and see how the stats stack up. I want to say it, but I'm biased. And I want to do a little bit more research and homework. That's what I was thinking, Jason. But you know what? They say the same thing about Eric Allen. How come Eric Allen isn't in the Hall of Fame? And his stats are much better than some other ones who are. So is it the never won a championship thing, or you can't say that no more because he got a ring. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. And he got a chip. So that can't be pulled into question anymore. Yeah, 88s. He's on the bubble. But if you on the bubble, that means you in the conversation. So yeah, I never if he is Hall of Fame, I don't think he's gonna be first ballot. That belongs to Aaron Donald. So, but even when Aaron Donald gets in, and even when Kelsey gets in, Kelsey's gonna be a first ballot, probably. You never know how these things go. And then Aaron Donald's going to get in. What's up, Val? When Aaron Donald gets in, here's the question I always want to ask. So, if Aaron Donald's the first ballot, if Jason Kelsey's the first ballot, Travis Kelsey's probably going to be a first ballot. What happens to all of those other people that should be getting in that get kicked back again? Again. Why did it take Harold Carmichael so long to get in? Why has it taken Eric Allen so long to get in? Nah, I didn't see the eclipse, man. I watched film of it. Everybody was putting up clips. So I just watched the clips. Did not see the eclipse. I didn't miss anything. It'll come back around in another 7 years, apparently, or whenever it is. So I thought that was funny, man. Um, but yeah, man, what happens to the Hall of Famers that get kicked to the curb another year? What happens to them? So it's interesting questions, man. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And there'll be a lot of arguments and discussions about that issue. But I'm with you, Jace. He's on the bubble, but I definitely want to put some comparisons together, man. So, yeah. And now we got the Patrick Surtain talk is happening again. Bow, you already know, dude. And I was on the put Eric in campaign because Eric Allen will be technically, technically, Eric Allen would be the third. What's up, Jabril? Eric Allen would be the third teammate that I have had to be in the Hall of Fame. The third. Um, Mark Duper. Mark Duper was with the Eagles for a hot second in '93. So he was one of my teammates. James Lofton was another guy that was signed with the Eagles for a hot second. Is Mark Bavaro. Mark Bavaro was with the Eagles my rookie year. Is he in the Hall of Fame? Let me see. I don't know if no, Mark Bavaro is not in the Hall of Fame. He is not in the Hall of Fame. So I got Art Monk. I don't remember. That may have been after I was gone. I don't think so. Yeah, he was with the Eagles. What year was that? Let's see if we can figure it out. Let's go stats. He was with Philadelphia in '95. So that was after I was gone. I was with the Eagles '93 and '94 briefly. Oh Lord, now what happened, man? Son of a bitch. Hold on. Breaking. I don't know if this is breaking news. Is this old? Hold on. I just saw a thing that's talking about Terrell Suggs just got arrested for something. Hold on. Is that old? Terrell Suggs arrest. Ugh. T Sizzle, Terrell Suggs arrested for assault in Arizona 2 hours ago. New York Post. Former Raven Terrell Suggs facing charges in Arizona, facing multiple charges. Former Baltimore Ravens and Arizona Cardinals linebacker Terrell Suggs was arrested in Arizona and is facing charges stemming from an incident in March. According to Scottsdale Police, Suggs was arrested on April 9th in connection to an incident reported on March 10th. He was booked and is facing charges of threatening and intimidating, as well as disorderly conduct with a weapon. According to the documents, this case stemmed from an incident in a drive-through when apparently Suggs' vehicle made contact with the victims and an argument started. The victim stated that he and Suggs began cursing at each other while waiting in the drive-through. The charging document said that eventually Suggs began to leave and flipped off the victim. This is when the victim said that Suggs stopped shortly before leaving, flashed a handgun out of the vehicle, but did not point it in his direction, and he believed he was being threatened. Aha, there we have it. The incident was captured on the victim's dash cam, and Suggs was identified through the footage. You know what, man? You get what you get. You get what you get. That you can't do that no more, man. You can't flash guns and all of that kind of stuff when you get mad at people. And that's that is the downfall of so many people. Ego. That's all that is ego. Did somebody like bump into the other person in the drive-through, like who bumped who? And at the end of the day, it's all on tape. So Terrell Suggs can say what he wants to say, but if you got a dash cam and you can see somebody pull a gun out, I mean, so who knows, man? And then it goes into, is the gun registered? Is all of that kind of stuff. Do you know the rules where you are as opposed to where you bought the gun and all of that kind of stuff, man? And it's just like, oh my God. It's like, dude, it is not that serious. All of this because you was impatient waiting for a burger in the drive-through line. Yeah, man. Ball so hard, university ain't doing. Oh my God, man. It is not that serious, man. These kids these days, nah. And Terrell Suggs ain't no kid, but he a lot younger than me, so I will say that. But you gotta be careful, man. You gotta be careful. Val, you right, man. Everything is on camera, dude. Everybody got receipts. Everybody has receipts these days. You can buy a 2K and a 4K dash camera that records in front and in back at the same time, and that thing's about smaller than a phone. And you glue it to your glass, or you can put it somewhere like right in the front. You can get that off Amazon right now. It's people that have whole YouTube channels, and all it is dash cam footage, all of the craziness that they catch that people do. People driving in and out of traffic, road rage, all of that kind of stuff. And it's like, dude, how come y'all don't understand what's going on? It ain't that serious. Not that serious. Not that impatient, man. I was so glad. And I think this happened when I was like in my 30s, like early 32, 33 years old. And I remember driving to work one day. And if you in South Jersey, anybody in South Jersey knows, I used to have to go up Route 73. Where I lived, I would go up Route 73 all the way up to Cherry Hill because it made more sense to do that than to jump on 95, than to go to 42 to 95. But 73, the traffic, because there's so many lights. And I remember one day, and I was like, why am I caring what the traffic is like? Leave a little bit earlier or whatever, or wait a little bit longer to leave so you don't get caught in all of this. And I remember a day in traffic where I just literally, I was just like, you know what? If the speed limit is 45, I'm going 45. I'm chilling. And everybody's passing me. And then it was like, for me, it was like one of those scenes in the cartoon. Y'all remember that? I'm gonna date myself here, but there was a Popeye cartoon I remember seeing, and Popeye was in the little putt car, and Brutus was in the fast car. So Popeye would be putting along and be hitting all the green lights. Brutus would take off, screeching out of there, and then slam on the brakes, and then hit another red light, and then Popeye would just keep putting along and never stop. And that's what it seemed like to me. Everybody that would get to the left and pass me, I would always end up seeing them again at a stoplight. And as soon as I pick up, the light would turn green. And I was like, man, I'm chilling. Driving like Joe Friday. Yeah, man. Yo, dude. Yeah, I had days on that night on that circle, man. Because I used to the company I used to work for, was in Cherry Hill, but it was by where PJ Willingham's and all of that stuff is now. It was in that area. So I would take where I lived, I would take 73 up there, hop on 70, and then I'd be right there. So it didn't make sense for me to get on the highway because 95 was even worse. But it was still because it was so many, it worked out to be a little bit better on 73, but it was just the lights, stop and go, stop and go. And it's just you couldn't do nothing with it. And I just remember that day and I was like, man, I ain't tripping off of this no more. I'm chilling. I'm chilling. So it's funny, man. It's just these people these days, especially with all this money in the league, and the real thing is a lot of these guys in the league, and in all sports, they think they can do anything, say anything, and act any old kind of way because there's plenty of situations where they can get away with that. But nowadays, you can't do that. You can't do that because there's always somebody watching. Always somebody's watching, man. So he get what he get. He get what he get. Think about the situation with Ray Rice. Think about that, how that went down with Ray Rice. Because if you remember, he got in trouble, and then the word came out, and then the NFL had to act. And then when the video came out, it was a wrap. And if you remember, the NFL took a lot of heat for that because the NFL didn't want to do anything. Their punishment was BS until the video came out. So, yeah, it's crazy, man. It never stops. You always got something going on. CJGJ, I'm glad his transgression wasn't so bad. He said some foul stuff on one of his live streams, and people got, Eagles fans felt some kind of way. But in the big scheme of things, that ain't nothing. That ain't nothing. The greatest invention known to man is the on-off switch, and most people don't use it. So, but yeah, man, a lot of good stuff. I will be on tomorrow. I'm about to get up out of here. I will be on tomorrow. If you are early bird, you can catch me tomorrow morning on rvntelevision.com. rvntelevision.com. I do a spot on the morning show, and just about 20 minutes to a half hour. I'm on there at 7:30. I'm done at 8 because I told him I got a hard stop because I got to clock in and go to work. And then, of course, tomorrow, the big show, Pro Fan Talk, 7 p.m. 7 p.m. So definitely be there. We'll definitely be talking about Brazil a little bit more. Some more of this. I think Friday, I'm going to do an official mock draft. Friday, I got a confirmation that my guy, Ian Cummings, is going to be on the show on Friday. So Ian is one of the draft analysts for PFN, Pro Football Network. So check out his stuff. Just look up Ian Cummings on Twitter. You can look at some of his work. The guy knows what he's talking about. He does in-depth stuff. He does the homework. He definitely does the homework. So I want to give you his Twitter feed is IC_draft. IC_DRAFT. IC draft at IC draft. That's my dude Ian Cummings. So he's going to be on the show Friday night. So and also, if you guys didn't know, I am doing Australian basketball. I did a stream the other day at 1:00 in the morning. Australian basketball, because my nephew plays for the Goldsmiths Giants in Australia, and I started streaming their games. So I go live whenever he plays. And this Saturday, I believe they play at 8 p.m., which is 8 a.m. in the States. So I will definitely be doing a live stream on Saturday morning. So definitely check that out. But I'm going to get out of here. Check me out tomorrow at 7 p.m. as usual on the big show, Pro Fan Talk. And again, Friday, I'm gonna be doing Friday at 9:30 again because I get a lot of international love lately. So I'm digging that. So I'm gonna keep doing it, man. So y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Wednesday. Go ahead, finish your lunch, and I will see you guys tomorrow night. All right, bring a friend, please. Thank you. I'll let y'all later. Go Birds.